Amidst my busy yet fulfilling days juggling work, household chores, and childcare, a certain mom friend appeared before me. "How much do you think this brand's coat costs? It was really expensive, you know. Most common folks wouldn't understand." Tiffany constantly boasts about everything. I could only smile wryly. It seems that Tiffany recently moved to a newly built high-rise apartment. When I was invited for a housewarming, she said, "You weren't invited, but want to come for a visit?" Due to the stress of daily life, I couldn't bear it anymore and revealed a shocking fact. My name is Nina. I live with my husband Kevin and our daughter Micah. I'm what you might call a workaholic. I chose to start working without going to college, so I've been working at my current job for over 10 years. You could say I'm quite the veteran. My bosses and junior staff were all nice people, and it's been fun regardless. Why am I so dedicated to my work? It's because my father passed away when I was young. I felt the need to become independent quickly from my mother, who raised me alone as a woman. And I wanted to repay her, make her life easier for her as soon as possible. When I told her I wouldn't pursue higher education, my mother was worried about me. But honestly, I didn't have any field of study I wanted to pursue. When I conveyed that properly, my mother understood. I met Kevin through work. He's an employee at one of our business partners and always treated me kindly. I was gradually drawn to his polite and sincere attitude toward work. Apparently, Kevin was also interested in my seriousness, and we started dating. There are many ways to get married and become a housewife or switch to part-time work, but I had no intention of quitting my job. When I talked about us both working, Kevin agreed. "It might be tough, but let's support each other. I will do my best, too." That's how he gave me encouragement. And then, a baby girl was born between us. We named her Micah and adored her dearly. Since both Kevin and I intended to work, we decided to enroll her in daycare. That's where I met a mom friend named Tiffany. "Hi, Nina. It's been getting cold lately, hasn't it?" Tina always dressed a bit flashy. She always wore items with a base of red or yellow. The place we live is rather rural, so there are many modest mom friends. Because of that, Tiffany stood out a bit. "Hello, that's right." "We have to be careful not to get sick, right?" Tiffany approached me when I came to pick up Micah. "Speaking of cold, look at the coat I'm wearing now. Can you guess how much I bought it for?" She flaunted her coat to me while fluttering it. I'm not particularly knowledgeable about coats, so I had no idea. I replied a little awkwardly. "How much is it? I really have no idea. I'm not very knowledgeable about coats or anything." "That's right. I guess that's true. You wouldn't know, would you?" Tiffany said with excessive joy. "It's a brand that's all the rage these days, and it's really warm just to wear it. I wonder if it's made of fleece lining or if it's made of sheepskin. I believe it cost $1,000. My husband bought it for me, though." As she finished speaking quickly, she noticed what I was wearing. "Nina, you need to wear proper clothes or you'll catch a cold. I think wearing something so thin and cheap is just like not wearing anything at all." "I want to know which thrift store you bought it from. Well, I would never buy from there, though." While smiling politely, I brushed off Tiffany's conversation. She often brags about things like this. Since most of us don't have much experience with brand name items, everyone looked puzzled. Apparently, most of what she owns was bought by her husband, and we often hear about it. It seems like they're quite capable at work and lead a wealthy life. Tiffany's nasty side is that she actually can't be refuted. She knows more about brand items, but I don't feel like studying just to win an argument. I grew up living with just my mother, so we had a modest lifestyle, far from luxury. It's not that we were poor, but we were cautious about spending money. So even if I wanted to argue back, I don't have the knowledge. I mentioned it to other mom friends, and they had similar expressions of being puzzled for the same reasons. Eventually, no one argued back anymore, and Tiffany ended up in a position akin to a boss mom. Even someone like me had the chance to use a branded item for the first time. It was for my wedding anniversary. Kevin and I were talking about wanting to buy something nice. Yeah, you've had that bag for a while, haven't you? I've never seen you use any other bag. Yeah, I might only have this one. I've been using it for over 10 years now. It's surprisingly durable, and it holds a lot inside. Then I'll buy you one for our anniversary. Well, if you look closely, it's starting to have worn out, thinning patches in places. It's proof that you've cherished it. I felt a bit guilty, but I decided to indulge in Kevin's words. I'm also working hard every day with childcare. Sometimes it might be nice to own something branded. As a return gesture, I decided to buy Kevin a watch. It's certainly more expensive than the bag I always carry. In addition, the fact that it was a gift from Kevin on our anniversary made it feel very special. However, sharp-eyed Tiffany wouldn't overlook this. I went to pick up my daughter with the brand-name bag, and she immediately noticed it and approached me. Nina, did you get a new bag? Yes, my husband bought it for me for our anniversary. You don't need to go out of your way like that. Are you trying to impress me or something? Even if you do that, you'll never be like me. You can't catch up. Huh? No, it's not like that. Without hearing my words until the end, Tiffany left while glaring at me. After this, for some reason, she began to view me as an enemy. Even though she used to boast similarly to other mom friends, she started to focus on me exclusively. Oh, Nina, didn't you bring that bag today? Usually I'd go shopping while picking up my daughter, but I did it earlier today. So I left it at home since I only needed the essentials. Are you just saying that? Did you actually lose it? Losing the precious bag your husband gave you? That's really the worst thing a wife could do, Tiffany said loudly. The other mom friends around were whispering to each other about something. I couldn't stand it anymore and left the scene. I quickly returned home with Micah. It wasn't that I couldn't bear Tiffany's sarcasm. It was because I felt Micah's gaze when Tiffany was talking loudly about me. Mom, what's wrong? Are you okay? Micah said worriedly. I'm fine. I'll make dinner, so just wait here, okay? I said with a forced smile. I really wanted to retort to Tiffany, but it's not good to argue in front of children. I regretted feeling like I was running away. Perhaps she doesn't like the bag I got from Kevin. She seemed to want to say something about someone like me having such a luxurious item. Others are others, and there's no need to worry about them. I think that, but I still feel depressed. Due to work, I often pick up the children from daycare. Considering the location of my office and the time I finished work, it was more convenient for me. On the other hand, Tiffany was a full-time housewife, so I always ended up seeing her when I went to pick up the children. There were times when I thought about consulting Kevin. However, at that time, he seemed very busy. It seems he's been entrusted with a major project at work, and even when he comes home, he seems a bit tense. I didn't want to burden Kevin with worries, so I didn't want to bring up such matters. One day, while I was keeping a distance from Tiffany and dealing with her, she brought up something like this. Recently, my husband's company's sales have been doing well, so he got a raise. We also got a bonus, so we decided to move to a new house in a better area. It's so beautiful, spacious, and comfortable. I feel really happy. If it weren't for the fact that she was Tiffany, I might have sincerely congratulated her. Given our past interactions, all I could say was, I see, that's great for you, with a forced smile. That's why I want to have a celebration party. We'll do it next Saturday, so make sure everyone comes. The decision for a housewarming party was made somewhat forcefully. It's strange to suggest throwing a celebration party in the first place. To be honest, I didn't want to go at all. But there's an atmosphere where you can't refuse. Tiffany looked at me and said, You should come too. You've probably never been to a high-rise apartment, right? I'll give you a special invitation. I think it'll be a good experience for you. Since I'm inviting you, you must come, okay? With that, she left the scene. It seems I have no choice but to accept. I wasn't feeling up to it, but I didn't want to create a tense atmosphere by not going, especially since it might affect Micah if something went wrong. Thinking that way, I couldn't refuse. A few hours later, I received a detailed email from Tiffany. I recognized the location mentioned in the email, and before I knew it, the day had arrived. I headed to the high-rise apartment with a gift in hand. While checking the room number from the email, I pressed the intercom. "Hello, I'll open it now, so please wait a moment." I could hear voices chatting behind her. It seemed like some people had already arrived. When Tiffany confirmed it was me at the door, she gave me a nasty look before letting me in. "Oh, Nina, is something wrong? You came all the way here?" Tiffany started to act oddly for some reason. I looked puzzled. "I came to celebrate your move since you invited me. It seems like everyone else is already here, right?" "But I didn't invite you. Did you come for a tour or something?" "Huh? But Tiffany, you did tell me to come." "I didn't say anything like that. Maybe you misheard." What is she even saying? Tiffany continues with a laugh. "It's not a place for someone who seems to be living off their husband's coattails to come." "I wonder if you understand that properly." "I understand your concern, but my home is actually on the top floor of this high-rise apartment." "Huh?" Unable to tolerate it anymore, I retorted sharply. Tiffany's expression froze at my sudden revelation. I realized something when I received the housewarming email. Perhaps Tiffany doesn't understand. The truth is, I have 2 places to live. One is the detached house where I always live with Kevin. Although it's far from the daycare, it has excellent transportation access to the office, so it's the main residence for us. On the other hand, this high-rise apartment is a place I prepared for relaxation. As you work for many years, your job becomes more complex, and the responsibilities become heavier. Being in such a situation for a long time inevitably makes you tired. So on weekends, I would move to the high-rise apartment and spend some leisurely time there. Of course, Kevin and Micah also have access to this room. It's very quiet and calming, so I liked it. The detached house is a bit far from the daycare, so when I don't have work, I sometimes go pick up the children from the high-rise apartment. "That's a lie. Because you're poor, Nina. Where does all that money come from?" "I never said I was poor." "I can tell from your belongings and stuff like that. You always dress so tacky and use cheap stuff all the time." "That's because I manage my money wisely with balance. I haven't been wasteful at all. I spend money where it counts, so I was able to afford the high-rise apartment." Seemingly frustrated by being rebutted, Tiffany bit her lip. "But isn't it tough living here? I've never seen you in this high-rise apartment before." "That's because I use the elevator. Your apartment is on the 2nd floor, so you take the stairs, right? I'm on the top floor, so I use the elevator." Once again, she couldn't come up with a retort and fell silent. At that moment, someone approached from behind me. "Hey, Tiffany, are you here?" Taylor, why are you here? Were you supposed to be at work today?" The person there was Tiffany's husband, Taylor. Seeing Taylor return suddenly, Tiffany looked flustered with wide eyes. "I was at work, but came back suddenly. Can you explain what this is about?" Saying so, Taylor handed over a document. It was a loan agreement. Tiffany's face turned pale in an instant. "Did you have debt? And it's for $10,000? What on earth did you spend it on?" Taylor yelled loudly. Even so, Tiffany remained silent. "Could it be that the recent increase in coats and brand-name items is because of that? I thought it was strange that there were more brand-name items, even though you're not working." "An increase in brand-name items? Wasn't that bought by your husband?" I couldn't help but interject. Taylor looked bewildered. Turns out, all the branded items Tiffany boasted about were actually bought by herself. It seems she even went as far as borrowing money to maintain the facade of her husband buying them. When I think about Tiffany's self-aggrandizing behavior, it seems so hollow. I became a target for this reason. Even though she lied about receiving them from her husband, I actually received gifts from Kevin. So perhaps she was envious. Perhaps, due to the loud noise, the other mom friends gathered at the entrance. Seeing this, Taylor lowered his head. "Apologies for the inconvenience, despite everyone gathering. Would it be okay to end today's discussion a bit early? Of course, the mom friends consented and dispersed. Tiffany still remained motionless in bewilderment. If you don't mind, could I ask you a bit about my wife? It seems the facts I know differ too much. Taylor asked apologetically. Understood. It might be subjective, but I'll tell you. I decided to convey everything that had happened up until now. While I was speaking, Tiffany remained silent with her head down. After hearing everything, Taylor let out a big sigh. Thank you very much. Please let me apologize again later. With that, I also left Tiffany's room. Then, a few weeks later, there was a report that the two of them were getting divorced. Taylor seemed shocked by her attempt to raise his own status, even if it meant borrowing money. It seems he doesn't want to see her face anymore and is only communicating through lawyers. Tiffany is staying quiet without any argument. Perhaps she gave up on everything since everything was exposed. The promissory note that was discovered at that time stated $10,000. But it seems she had borrowed money in addition to that, exceeding $50,000 in total. Of course, Taylor said he intends to make her pay it all back. After the divorce, Tiffany is living quite an impoverished life. Of course, she was kicked out of the luxury apartment. It seems she asked her parents for help, but everyone knows about what happened, and now she feels lost with no one to depend on. According to someone who saw her shopping at the supermarket, she looked completely different, as if she had lost all her dignity. When I reported this incident to Kevin, he got a little angry. If something happens, don't bear it alone. Make sure to consult me properly. Because it's you, Nina. You probably thought you'd be a bother to me, right? Yeah, sorry about that. Thank you. There's no need to apologize. I'm sure it's been tough for you in various ways. Here, this is a present. Kevin handed over tickets for a day trip. Lately, you've been busy with work, house chores, and childcare, right? So go out with your mom with these. It'll also help change your mood. I couldn't help but cry. I'm so lucky to have such a wonderful person nearby. My mother was also very happy when I told her. From now on, I'll work even harder, and someday, I want to repay the kindness.